It usually tells me that the recording's no, I'm thinking of the city council meeting where it says recording in progress. Good evening, everybody. I'm Alderwoman Lee from the 11th Ward. You are tuned in to a Zoom call that is a community meeting for a zoning change request for 3,000 to 3,048 South Halsted. It is the Parkview Plaza. We have with us this evening, sorry, the zoning change that's been requested is a zoning change from the current B1-2 to the requested change of B3-2. I believe Mr. Silver is going to walk us through a presentation, which I'll share here in a moment. The general reason for the zoning change request is to accommodate a permit for a larger sign for the shopping center. Is that right?
Not exactly. It's actually a
you're on
smaller
mute.
sign.
We can't hear you.
Oh, okay.
I can't hear him. Oh, hold on.
I could hear him.
Can you hear me
I
okay?
should probably turn the volume up on my own device. Sorry about that.
Okay, not a problem. And for what it's worth, I did hear the recorded voice say that the recording's in progress.
Okay, so that was my fault that my volume was turned down.
Okay.
That's gonna look great on the recording of this on the playback. Anyway.
Not a problem.
Yeah,
but
so
for the record,
I'll toss it over to you. So what I'd ask is that everybody introduce themselves. Kathy Disney is from my staff here in the 11th Ward. Warren, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Warren Silver. I'm an attorney with Silver Law Office, PC, and I'm representing the applicant for the zoning change.
Okay. Drew, can you identify yourself?
Yeah, Drew Trammell. I'm asset manager for the subject property.
Okay, great.
Our company is called Newcastle Properties. This entity is called Circuit Associates, is the ownership entity.
Awesome, thank you. And then Cynthia, yours says community member.
Hi, yes, my name's Cynthia. I live a few blocks away.
Okay, great. Thanks for being here with us. I'm gonna keep an eye on the lobby for anybody else that joins us, but I will start sharing my screen. So Warren, you tell me when you're ready to move on to the next slide and I will navigate.
Sure.
Here we go.
Okay, and thank you, Alderwoman. And as Drew mentioned, this shopping center is owned by an entity controlled by Newcastle Properties. And they've got various commercial properties all over, and this is it. This is Parkview Plaza. It's on the west side of Halsted Street, between 30th and 31st. And the purpose is to replace this sign with, it's actually a slightly smaller sign, Alderwoman. I wanted to correct the record on that. So the next slide is got a rendering of what the proposed sign would look like. If you want to go ahead. This is it. It's, you know, kind of sketched in there, so it's not exactly to scale, but the idea is that it's a more contemporary look to update this center and to provide signage that's more in keeping with what the world looks like now. Just to compare the old sign with the new sign, if we can go to the next slide. The new sign is about 1.75 feet shorter, about 1.33 feet narrower. It's smaller in total sign area, and I want to say that those numbers are per sign face. So for zoning purposes, it counts as double, you know, because there's, you know, wording on both sides of that sign. So the new sign would be, for zoning purposes, 624 square feet, but each side of it is 312. And then when you add that to the tenant signage on the various stores in the plaza, it would reduce that total signage from 1,523 square feet to 1,419 square feet.
So technically smaller, but you still need the zoning change because B1-2 will not allow you to get a permit for this size sign. So it seems like the zoning was taken down at some point.
It must have been,
Yep,
but this is what it is today.
before you or
and-
me, so.
Correct. And if you go to the next slide, here is the standard. The current B1 district only allows a maximum total sign area of 600 square feet or 3 times the street frontage. Now, obviously, the street frontage is much larger. That alone is larger than 600 square feet. And so we're capped out at that 600 square foot number. And as you saw a moment ago, the total signage is already far more than that. Even taking the sign out, the tenant signage alone approaches 800 square feet. In the B3 district, in the -2 is going to stay the same, but the B3 district would allow us to go up to 1,500 square feet. And as you saw, our total sign area with the new sign would be 1,419 square feet. So it would fit within the B3 limitation. Now, to explain exactly why we would need a zoning change to make the sign smaller to reduce a nonconformity, go to the next slide, please. The current signage is grandfathered. So when you have something that's already lawfully built, and this was lawfully built before our client acquired it and before any of us got involved with it, the zoning must have been reduced after that, or the standards within the district changed. And under the zoning ordinance, if signage is grandfathered, all you can do to it is change the actual sign face. You can't change
Not
the
the
sign
structure.
itself, even if you make it smaller. And so removing the old sign means you couldn't put in a new sign at all without a zoning change. And that's really what it boils down to. In order to make this improvement to the look of the center and the utility of that sign, we do need the zoning relief.
Great.
And that's it. And thanks very much. And if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to entertain them.
Cynthia, I think you're the only community member that's on the call. Do you have any questions for Mr. Silver or his client?
I kind of wanted to just check if we were going to make the sign bigger, but it seems like it'll be smaller. Do you think, I'm trying to imagine the parking lot, which is usually quite busy. If having the signs lower but wider will block any visibility while driving around that particular area?
Actually, it's lower and narrower. It's about the same width.
Because
the
it's
thickness.
you
But
can't
you
really
can-
see through the bottom
Right.
of it.
You can see through the current sign. Because you can see above the car. So I get your concern, Cynthia, because this is putting up what will essentially be a wall versus the sign up on stilts. Is that what you're referring to, Cynthia?
Yeah, and I don't know if it would be a problem because it's hard for me to imagine it right now. But yeah, that was my question. If it would kind of block drivers being able to see behind it, or if drivers would need to be able to see behind it.
And would
I think
that,
there's an entrance right behind or right next to this area, a few cars down.
yeah, right in front of it, right? If you're going to the north on Halsted.
Uh,
Do you know? Go
yeah,
ahead.
this is Drew. So that lane of traffic is a one-way in our parking lot. It's a one-way coming north to the south towards the park. And the pylon sign is probably, just offhand, yeah, probably like 6 or 7 parking spots in from the drive lane on the south end of the center.
Is this
Excuse
gonna
me,
eat
on the
up
north
a-
end, on the north end of the center, going into Walgreens and Unique Thrift. And so that traffic is a one-way going north. It kind of like a big circle going in front of Walgreens and then loops back around.
Is this gonna take up an entire parking space, Drew?
The existing one already does.
Oh, it does. So this other car that's parked there is just parked illegally in the picture.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, that car would definitely be sticking out into our drive lane there. If you look on like the bigger pictures, like page 2 of our presentation, the second slide.
Oh, I'm going the wrong direction.
Yep, that one.
Yeah.
So you can see that that little white or silver car is definitely sticking out into the thing, and that's not a parking spot.
Yeah, that's not a parking space.
And so yeah, it's like the 4th spot in from the drive lane. So cars don't look down that way though. You can see the cars are coming out heading to the north. So cars would not be like turning down into that turn lane. They shouldn't be.
It would just be that car right in front of the sign.
Yeah,
trying to
just be that.
back
Yeah,
out.
just be that. Yeah, that 3rd spot in exactly.
And more cars have backup cameras that have a little bit of a wider angle, and some even have sensors that'll beep if someone's coming behind you. That may reduce the problem as well.
Cynthia, were you concerned at all from a safety perspective that someone may be able to like stand behind it on either side next to a car?
I wasn't really thinking about that, but it sounds like that could be possible. More of the driving thing, because it's kind of a madhouse in that
Yes, it is. It's a
parking
very,
lot.
it's a very busy plaza.
Yeah. But otherwise, I mean, I agree. Most cars do have backup cameras and other safety mitigation things.
And this, what's been sort of sketched out here, it's a rendering. It's not, I don't believe this is to scale. Or is it?
It's
Yeah,
not exactly to scale, but it's directionally accurate. It's pretty close.
Okay. It's pretty close to it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not a huge difference in size, as I mentioned.
Yep.
It's a foot 9 inches shorter, and a foot 4 inches narrower, which
Yeah.
Is not huge difference.
It feels bigger because it's going to be one solid face as opposed to 3 of these things stacked on top of each other with a lot of see-through space. I think that's why it probably feels bigger.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really the other main driver from this, just besides we like to make our shopping centers look as best as possible, and the existing pylon sign definitely does not look very contemporary or nice in our opinion.
No, and you still have that circa 1992 cash station little thing there.
Is more of like the small business owners, like Grand Triple Crown. It's an excellent restaurant. Like none of them have the signage, and so
Right.
just having more signage on the street that more people can see. So one of the factors, as you can see on our rendering, is that all of the tenants will have signage. So it's really more important for like the Grand Triple Crowns and the Triple Express Cleaners type mom and pop local businesses.
Okay. Oh, there's one person trying to get in. Hold on. Welcome to the call, Michael. Sorry, you get singled out because you're the most recent person I've let in.
Hello.
Are you a member of the community, Michael?
Yeah. Oh, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah. I live at 3113
Oh,
South
okay.
Emerald.
All right. Well, we just went through this presentation. The zoning change been requested because they need it in order to get a permit to put up a new sign. So I'll just show you pictures because I'm sharing my screen. And then you can ask questions. Mr. Silver and Drew, Mr. Silver is the attorney representing the company that owns or that manages the plaza, and then Drew's with the real estate company. So they are wanting to put up this as a new sign. And it's actually technically a little smaller than the other one, even though it looks bigger. Because the height is shorter by a little bit more than a foot, almost 2 feet shorter. And it is narrower, 13 feet wide versus the former one, which was 14.4. And the reason they need the zoning change from B1-2 to B3-2, it appears that the property was downzoned at some point. And because they want to make a change to the sign, it requires the proper zoning for the permitting to get approved. Do you have any questions for Mr. Silver or Drew from the real estate management company? Michael, you're on mute if you're trying to talk. Well, I don't have any other questions. Cynthia and Michael, if you don't have any other questions, we'll probably just end the call here.
Although Cynthia just put a question in the chat.
Oh, good. Sorry. I can't see the chat right now. Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't want to
and-
interrupt.
Oh, no, it's
Michael.
fine.
Are you okay?
Yeah, so I was just wondering if the sign is going to be like just big enough to fit every store name, or will it be excessively large and have empty spots? It'll be just like this with just the one empty spot.
Yeah, just because we have one current vacancy on the in that one middle storefront between H&R Block and World Finance space in
Okay.
Halsted. So yeah, that would go there.
That sounds good.
Michael, do you have any questions?
No, I'm just trying to soak in the situation.
Okay. Well, Drew, do you want to give him your 2-minute explanation of the age of the sign and why you want to get it updated?
Yeah, the sign is super old and outdated and looks its age. It mainly only focuses on Walgreens and their business. So one of the things it's a two-pronged benefit. One, it just looks more contemporary and looks a lot nicer. And two, it will help, some of our small business owners like Grand Triple Crown, local mom and pop, small businesses and the cleaners to get some signage that they don't currently have. And then whoever hopefully fills up that vacant space in the near future.
And I'll add that because the zoning has been downzoned, you can't replace the sign. If you remove it, it has to stay off without a zoning change. Because it's been grandfathered.
Any thoughts from you, Michael? I'm totally putting you on the spot because you're the only other community member that's on this call right now. No pressure. I mean, you're just speaking for the entire neighborhood.
And yeah, one quick question is, did I hear you right when you said that the old sign cannot be taken down?
The sign is grandfathered because it's put up under presumably either a different zoning district or the standards for the zoning district were changed after it was put up. And under the zoning ordinance, if a sign is grandfathered, the only thing that you can do to it is to change the sign face. So you'd have to keep that same shape, structure, and just change the lettering or, maybe remove the film that says Walgreens and put in something else if that were appropriate.
Or you could
Um,
put like all this, you can make very small little boxes for every other business. So I understand the rationale there.
Yeah, so even if it's a smaller sign, if you take that sign down, because the signage is all grandfathered for that center, you couldn't put something else up at all unless you change the zoning.
Oh, I see. That's an interesting predicament you're in.
The other history of this center is the Walgreens was actually a Dominic's grocery store. Dominic's actually developed the shopping center probably in the late 1950s or early 1960s, and then the store was probably too small and not as profitable as a bigger one that they built somewhere else nearby, and so they leased this to Walgreens in 1987.
Yeah, there used to be a Jewel across the street where the Cermak produce is.
Yeah, so they both moved on to bigger buildings, bigger
Yes.
footprints. I mean, this signage with Walgreens dates back to at minimum 1987, so it's a little needs a little refreshing.
I'm telling you, the cash station little thing there, that cash station logo is the dead giveaway to the,
Yep,
totally dates it.
yep.
Okay, well, if nobody else has any more questions or doesn't want to voice any more concerns, I don't really see a problem with getting this zoning change done. Warren and Drew, I'll have Kathy send you a letter of support for this zoning change so that you can get your new sign permitting done. I know this is going to take a minute to get the zoning change done, but at least we'll get the ball moving forward for you.
Great, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Michael, thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, no
thanks,
problem.
Michael, and thanks, Cynthia.
All right, take care,
Can't wait to see
everybody.
what happens.
Yep, thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time.
Bye-bye.
Right, right.
Night.